Good morning. I think it was the Samoa. I don't remember. Was that a long episode? Apparently, that episode was slightly longer than normal. When I got to my computer to set up, I was 2 minutes late already. I think it's Samoa. I didn't even look up a noon time. I picked some like random town. What was that? Mike went weird. Yeah, I picked some random town for 8 a.m. Last time we did a noon stream. But no, we're back. I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving. If you're in a country that did that. If you're not in a country that did that, I hope you had a miserable Thanksgiving. No. But yes, welcome to Season 1, Episode 15, Star Trek Prodigy Review, Masquerade. I forgot the word looking at the thumbnail. I was like, Masquerade. How does this word finish? But yes, I clearly had no time to organize my thoughts. I had Thanksgiving on Thursday. I went to a concert yesterday. So my voice has been overworked, and I have 6 Lego sets arriving imminently. So I'm probably gonna. This might not be a long stream, but we're gonna try and get everything in. Good. That's the right. That's the right screen I'm streaming. Yes. Opening thoughts. There's 2 things I kind of want to open with. Let's see. Let's start. I like Janeway. You know, I like Voyager. I like going through Janeway. But I think the thing you have to accept about Janeway, right, is that she's a one-track mind homicidal maniac who doesn't care about the consequences and is totally focused on her singular goal, whatever that may be. That's the Janeway I remember from Voyager. That's the Janeway that you get, because they wrote Janeway with Voyager in kind of like 2 different ways. Kate Mulgrew, my uncle, tells me, he's like read interviews and stuff, where she eventually started treating the character as if she had some like PTSD split personality thing, because you had like the Janeway who was overwrought by stranding her crew in the Delta Quadrant, and then it's been a while since I've seen Voyager, but like the different Janeway, the more kind of standard Federation-y Janeway. And so this isn't a complaint, but like, what happened to Janeway in the past decade or so? Because, you know, when she's sitting there talking to the Admiral, it was like, Admiral, you're wrong. We gotta go into the neutral zone. And he, like, the moment I'm like, oh yeah, this is my Janeway. You know, the Janeway I know was like, they're gonna go in, damn the consequences. And the Admiral's talking like, we're finally making peace with the Romulans. Kudos, by the way. I love that continuation of sort of the Deep Space Nine era races that I don't think we've seen enough of. It's like, we're finally making peace with the Romulans. Like, if you do this, you could plunge the entire quadrant into war again and, like, ruin this alliance, you know, that we're building. And I'm like, no, Janeway's gonna go in one-track mind. And then the whole episode, she's like, down with that. She's like, no, he's got amazing points. Like, we've got to destroy the protostar. If the Romulans try and take it, we can't enter the neutral zone. It's just a jarring, like, whoa, what is this Janeway, but like under a consistent writing team? Like, it was really kind of taking me aback. Like, oh, it's like, I think when the 13th Doctor eventually makes her way to the audio dramas and it's like real good writers, it's gonna be like, whoa, this is, like, yes, this is this character, but like, why are they fixed now? Why do they work? People get annoyed when I call Janeway a one-track mind homicidal maniac, and I don't know why. I like it fully, because it's not. It's kind of said with love, weirdly enough. But someone wants to have that conversation. I'll have it. But yeah, Janeway to me has always been a one-track mind homicidal maniac. Also, hello. I'm very bad at reading names, but I'm gonna go with Aniket. I didn't say hello, but as I was setting up in the chat, you said thank you and take your time, which I totally didn't do, but that's okay. So yes, that it's like weird. It was weird, kind of jarring, seeing a Janeway that actually was like, I don't want to say acting sensibly because that's gonna sound like an insult, but like seeing that Janeway, who was more like a Picard, I guess, like in the sense that, like, yeah, they were thoughtful, they were considerate, they recognized that, like, I don't know, they were going to destroy the Protojar. They were going to lose Chakotay. Hi, stress-free. You have an easy name. Yes, you have a very stress-free name. No, it was good. It was good seeing that Janeway, but it was a bit jarring, like, whoa. Janeway's like a captain now, a proper... Well, she's an admiral, but... Yeah, the other thing... I talked about this. I don't know if you saw my Strange New World review on Una's episode. Whatever. Which one was it? Hang on. I'm gonna actually I can probably get that pretty quick. Paramount Strange New Worlds. Good, it's still in my browser history. Children of the Ghosts of Valyria. That was it. Where they did genetic engineering. I said for the first time they did it right, kind of. It was like, yeah, no, this rule is dumb. Like, to vastly oversimplify such a beautiful episode, they're like, yeah, this rule is dumb. Like, it's just fearful and racist and doesn't make any sense. Heavily praise that for being, the good take. The genetic engineering. Stress-free again in chat. Are you related to a Skywalker? Oh, that's not to me. That's to Aniket. Oh, didn't get it until I said the name out loud.
You're stupid, but I love you.
But yeah, I'm kind of conflicted on this episode.
Technically, your uncle flies a plane, so technically you are related to somebody who would walk the skies.
Yeah, I've been in the plane.
Have you walked around in the plane?
No, it's not that big. But,
Well, for the sake of my joke, have you ever walked around in a plane?
Yes.
Then you're a Skywalker!
Yeah, I'm kind of conflicted, because this was a good episode. Like, story-wise, like, as far as episodes, this was a solid episode. It's good, I'll get through kind of scene by scene. But I'm also conflicted in that it wasn't a genetic engineering is bad and we should ban it episode. Like, it wasn't that. That wasn't really the message. I'll get into the message, actually, because I do want to talk about that. But it wasn't doing any favors to, like, the acceptance of genetic engineering. I'm not going to go into the big spiel now, because if you really want my details, like, go see Ghosts of Valyria. But I wrote a college English paper about Star Trek's genetic engineering policy and why it's harmful and bad and, quite frankly, just dumb. Like, it was like a 7-page college essay on the Star Trek genetic engineering philosophy. I think it's damaging. And I think that like, my generation is on the cusp where if we really went into the genetic engineering stuff, like, now, I think we could get to the point where, we're curing basically every disease. We're getting to immortality. We're getting, everything. I'm not talking, like, designer baby stuff. I mean, like, the actual good, solid genetic engineering, like the curing diseases, extending lifespan, extending health span. It's the same thing with genetic engineering. But we're not starting it right now, and I don't think we're going to start it for a while. I think it's this generation that is the Prodigy's target audience that has a very good chance of actually really starting all that stuff, or, like, having to deal with it is, like, a big issue in the world. And it might still get pushed past them, but having a message that's definitely not doing any favors for that genetic engineering is not good, is someone who would quite like to catch that tail end of, inventing immortality and all those health benefits and health spans. If you want a little thing that's a good summary of the pro kind of genetic engineering arguments, I'd recommend CGP Gray's Fable of the Dragon Tyrant. If I remember, I'll link it in the description after the live stream. I'm not gonna do it right now, but just put that into Google. CGP Grey Fable of the Dragon Tyrant. That's a pretty good allegory. But because literally, I could sit here for hours and go off about genetic engineering, why it's feasible, why it's good, why it's inevitable, and I'm conflicted of the because I've been a huge proponent of knowing the influence you have of anyone, even someone like my level, talking to 2 people right now, reaching a few more, but like I'm not, I'm not, I don't want to say I'm not going to change the world, but I'm not like, I don't know, Patrick Stewart, like who has much easier time of reaching people and changing a world, or a franchise like Star Trek who would influence so much. I hammered Picard for, I think, just being ignorant of that responsibility. I've praised Prodigy a lot for the messages it's been giving. It's been giving good, solid, moral messaging. It's been doing it well. And it's, kids are going to walk away from Prodigy indoctrinated's maybe not the word, but like with those ideas floating in their heads, thinking about them. And, Prodigy in some level, is in some decent level. I think will make the world a better place, these sorts of kid shows. And so it's putting that like I have conflictions with that. Aniket again. When I watched the first arc of Star Trek Prodigy Season 1, so the first 10 episodes, I said that earlier that this show will get an Emmy nomination minimum, and it has been really nominated for Emmys. That's great. Which ones is my questions? Because I notice, like, I think all the Star Treks have been nominated for awards. Any big production gets nominated for awards. But to be a bit of the cynic, I always see, like, Discovery and Picard get nominated for, like, best costumes, best visual effects, stuff like that. Like, things that don't really have anything to do with the story or, like, quality of the show necessarily. We're like, yeah, they have great costumes and effects. Flux, Doctor Who's latest season, was, like, god-awful story, but, like, every other stage of production, like, the practical effects people nailed it out of the park. Costumes, fantastic. Like, they deserve the awards. But then you'll see Lower Decks, we'll get, like, writing awards and things, and more broadly, I'll kind of see that, like, the big-budget shows that, movies and stuff, that, like the newer Star Wars, that weren't really crowd pleasers, people don't generally enjoy the stories, will still get, like, the awards for, the kind of, less important things, whereas, like, the more solid shows will actually get, like, writing awards and stuff, which I do like the newer Discovery stuff. I don't want to be like, modern Star Trek bad, but I kind of treat the different awards differently. Of like, best costumes isn't a sign of how good your show is. It just means they've got amazing costumes. Stress-free. If we could take the profit motive out of genetic engineering, it could be useful, but just like selling body parts, too much harm would come. It's an interesting one, because even in Star Trek, except for Enterprise, they do genetic engineering in certain cases. There was a baby, I won't spoil who was going to have, like, a big spine problem that was, like, some massive disability, if not, like, a death sentence, and the doctor just, like, genetic engineering that out, because they're like, yeah, if it's, like, a serious life or death, like, we'll fix that. But, like, they won't give Geordi his eyesight. They'll do some things, but it's interesting, because, like, I think it's an inevitability is the biggest thing. Like, even if the world bans genetic engineering, someone's gonna do it. Some in that scenario, some, like, rogue scientist in, like, some country they can hide away in is just gonna do it. And especially if it's, like, immortality or, like, a huge life extension. Because I do believe there's nothing, in summary, there's nothing that we've seen about genetic engineering that says we couldn't make ourselves immortal, and everything we've kind of prodded into has said that yes, we could make ourselves immortal if we just, like, invested in it. And so if you want to go that route, I think if it's possible, someone's going to do it. And if you have an immortal person, they're going to outlive everyone who's against immortality. Everyone who's for it is one way or another, slowly over time, going to become immortal. They'll eventually become a majority, and at that point, you're not going to be against immortality, because, like, everyone's immortal, it's just the norm. But again, I'm going to really, like, if I was actually arguing for genetic engineering, I'd go far more in depth. These are, like, I'm not going to defend myself, these are bullet points. But I think the things like a designer baby, right? Like, I don't think genetic engineering should be used frivolously, but then there's things like, I don't know, if you want purple hair, if you want Boimler, like, why not? You know, I think those are gonna be the real problems. I don't think many people are gonna really have, I think healthcare, you know, genetic engineering for things like actual disabilities is gonna be like abortion, where, you know, there are certain groups, like real conservative groups, against it, but by and large, you know, people are like, yeah, this is an acceptable thing. This is kind of just a medical procedure. And so there'll be controversy around it, but I think it'll be more a louder minority than a big thing. Because, like, if you want green eyes, that's a bad color. People have green eyes, but, like, why not? You know, if you want your baby to have purple hair, I don't know, that feels more dubious, but, like, where's the line, you know? And, like, if we want to make super strong humans, why not? Is kind of the argument. If we can do it, like, if we know that it's safe, like, we've done the research, we know this is just a thing that'll work, we're not just, like, shooting in the dark, why not? And I think once we start letting in, you know, the medical things, you can cure cancer or something, you can just fight diseases by genetically engineering the perfect antibody or whatever. I think, you know, over centuries, however, decades, it'll be hard to shut that wall and be like, no, you can't have the purple hair. It's like, why not? You know, I can dye my hair purple. Why can't I just cut out the dye budget and get purple hair? You know, that's more a innocuous example. That's more like a whatever, I guess. Like, not many people would be against that, I think, if we know it's safe. But in the Star Trek world, the reason they banned genetic engineering is not the World War III, the eugenics wars. There we go. Humanity basically was like the mad scientist. I mean, you know, the mid-20th century stuff, you'd get those, like, crazy Nazi scientists, or even not Nazi, even just when we didn't have these science rules. Like, there are horrible experiments, like, truly messed up experiments. But the eugenics wars was kind of a extreme end of that kind of mad Nazi scientist type who was like, damn the consequences, we'll just make them super strong, like, we'll pump them up with adrenaline, and because, like, it'll make them strong, but do all these stuff that actually made them really aggressive, made the augmented humans crazy aggressive and try and take over the world. And they went, right, genetic engineering is bad, we can't have it, it's far too much of a risk, because that'll happen again, it's inevitable, which is stupid. It's like, no, just don't augment them to be like in that stupid haphazard way. There's the quote is, superior ambition breeds superior ability breeds superior ambition. Bull. Like, have you never met the person who, like, could get into Harvard if they tried, but they're gonna put all their intelligence to, like, get a C so that they've technically passed, but they've optimized doing the minimal amount of work? Like, I was one of those straight A students. Like, I learn things pretty quick. I pick things up quick. I'm generally good at most of what I try. I don't like to hype myself up like this, but my point is, I've got like no ambition. Like I mean, superior ambition does not breed superior ability does not breed superior ambition. It's just a crazy thought. In I love Enterprise. I'll challenge that, where you'll have Dr. Phlox who's like, on Denobula, we've used genetic engineering for like medical purposes for ages. It's an amazing Enterprise episode. It's the one with Brent Spiner, where that Star Trek, there is literally no genetic engineering. They could cure genetic illnesses, like serious genetic disabilities and things like that. They choose not to. Archer's dad died because they chose not to cure some degenerative genetic disability, and not illness he had. They just let him die because genetic engineering bad. And that is the episode that the end of that is Archer going like, we saved your notes. I think you're right that, the galaxy still frowns upon frivolous genetic engineering, but it's like, this is dumb. My father didn't have to die. Like, why curing this genetic disability is not going to make the next con. I love that episode for it, and it was the lead-in to the philosophy every other series has, where genetic engineering is a medical tool, but like so is oxycodone. But you're not going to give oxycodone to like anyone. You serious, or you regulate that. And even this episode, like Julian Bashir is proof that genetic engineering works, at least in the Star Trek universe. You can do it. But the reason you have people like those, I don't remember their name. I think they had a name, but like the 3 or 4 augments that were like in some care home because they couldn't function in society, is because of what we see in this episode. The problem isn't genetic engineering. The problem is that it's illegal, meaning it's unregulated, meaning people are going to get these genetic engineerings from doctors who don't really know what they're doing. A lot of the times, they don't have the right tools. They don't have sanitary environments. That's the problem with genetic engineering in the Star Trek universe. But yeah, I think I've gone on way more on genetic engineering than I've wanted to, than I was planning on. But yeah, I have mixed feelings about it, because this episode wasn't saying it's bad, but it's the little influences you have as a show. I hate the term influencer is like a job, because it's so degrading. But one of the reasons I hate it the most is because it's accurate. Yeah, like it's not restricted to people like me. Any media is an influencer, but it's like the little, how's this going to nudge society in just the little ways. Absolutely. Thank you, Anakit, unless you were talking about stress-free, who says, Prodigy is so beautiful, I sort of don't even care about what the story is about each week, no wonder it wins Emmys. Yeah, I agree to a point, because as I've said before, with Picard, I'm very much aware of what I'm saying how it could influence people, I'll tell the story I did in, with Picard, where there's the, that's too long a story, but basically I was, like, helping someone, with, like, a trivia game on the phone. They were behind me on a bench, I was just doing homework at school. I would hear the questions, varsity captain of, the Knowledge Bowl team, one of the best in the regions. Like, I'm good at trivia, so I was helping them. They said, I don't know this. I just say the answer. And then as they were leaving, they tried to thank me. And I just kind of ignored it. I was doing my homework. I'm autistic. I was like that back then. And then they kind of paused for a second as I ignored them. And they tapped my shoulder. So I would look up and they're like, oh, hey, thanks for helping. And then they just left with that smile. And I'm sure they forgot me by the end of the week. That was is 7 years ago. But yeah, like, well, I wouldn't have been 16. Yeah, so that was 7 years ago. And I still remember that, and I'll remember that forever. Just like the tiniest little nothing interaction. You get the YouTubers with streams a lot. For bigger people, no one like me yet, where it's like, you've literally saved my life, like your videos. You brought me through hard times, whatever. It's those little ways of, that's just probably the most obvious example that these kind of shows can influence people. So, if the next episode of Prodigy was they all go back in time and, like, join the Nazis in World War II, like, don't matter how good your story is, like, I'm gonna say, like, no, there's a line here. is a very extreme example, but no, I do agree. Yeah. Let's see. Let's go through some of the scene by scene, I think. Yeah, I liked... God, what were some of the things I could have read? No, I think this does relate. Let's go into the ending. Okay, not that ending. The moral of the story is, I think one of them says even the line, like, it doesn't matter that you're imperfect. I'm not sure if that should have been the moral. Like, that's, to me, that statement, it doesn't matter that you're imperfect, is an acknowledgement that Dal is imperfect. Which is a thing we got because the geneticist who was wanting to sell their genetic, and their, like, dubious genetic engineering process, thought the work put in to create Dal was kind of shoddy. And that's why Dal's imperfect. Even if we want to accept as fact that Dal is imperfect, presumably compared to the others around him who were born naturally, like, that's so, like, it's okay. You're not disabled. You're just special. It's the, like, well, no, that's not. I don't think that's the point. It's like the thing is, you're perfect the way you are. Not you are imperfect, but we don't care. Like, you can be imperfect, Dal. That's. I wasn't sure about that. It's probably phrasing. Like, I think the message is, like, it doesn't matter what you are, you're perfect your way you are, but the phrasing has undertones that I don't really like, in how they did that. Let's move on to the next ending, unless someone wants to come in and say I'm absolutely wrong. Yeah, I liked that we got Dreadnoks back, because as I said in my the view, his death was horrifically underwhelming. Just, for kind of like a big villain. In episode 10, it just kind of happened. It was like a nothing, so I'm glad that's not the end of it.
Why is the alien sim yelling at a poorly made Dalek?
He does actually look kind of sad. He's like, oh, that was my coffee table. Like, his coffee was on that a minute ago.
On the Dalek?
Yeah. Stress-free, yeah, Rock Talk sort of missed the mark. Yeah. It was also weird. I think the biggest part for me is they just accepted the fact that Dal was imperfect, and from the source they did. If Janeway said Dal was imperfect, like, okay, I'd get that. That's the authority figure. But, like, that geneticist they now believe to be, like, the scum of the earth is like, well, they said Dal was imperfect, so... And, like, oh yeah, that was the other thing. I mean, if we just accept that there is a perfect DNA... because you kind of have to for the argument, like, surely we're imperfect as well. If you just jumble up genes randomly, like, that, there's no way that's perfect. Like, that's gotta be imperfect. So, I mean, if anything, surely Dal is less imperfect than everyone else in that room. It was just jumbled together. He had some thought put into him. Like, it does, even on the, like, not racist, I guess, like geneticist. Well, eugenic. Even with that like eugenic viewpoint, it doesn't really make sense. But yeah, I like Dreadnought back. Hopefully, he'll get a more satisfying ending. However, the lovely Trill woman, like, that's illegal. You can't weaponize the Trill. Everyone loves the Trill. That's why it's a Trill. I even talked in an earlier episode about how they use the Trill as like love a little. Oh, I love the Trill. Yeah, like we just put them on the ship for no reason. Like what? Writing. Okay, great twist. Like yeah, you've done it, but it's illegal. You can't do that to my Trill. They're precious. They must be protected. They must be good and pure. But no, that's one of my packages has arrived. Alex, do you want to do me a favor and go get the package from the door?
What up?
Do you want to go get the package that was just delivered?
Sure.
Thank you.
Is it food?
No, it's my Lego.
Why do you hate me?
Why
isn't it food?
I ordered one of the very old Lego modular buildings, the Grand Emporium, which I got it at a good price, but those are expensive. I don't want it sitting on the porch. I don't want that sitting on the porch. But yeah, I mean, I think this is the most interesting thing to happen in Prodigy. Probably just full stop, honestly. Like, this is interesting. It's some sort of, it's almost like a time war now, right? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if we did get Daniels and Prodigy. I've wondered that before, but, like, this is now like some sort of mission. This whole race from the future is sending people back to find the ship. Kind of weird, actually. I've just realized that they sent this Trill back, and now she's on the mission to go find the Protostar again. Why couldn't they send someone, like, to Starfleet ages ago? Thank you, Alex. And then, like, I don't know, during TNG, and then had them, like, work their way up to be a Starfleet captain, or, like, even admiral, and they could then give themselves the Protostar mission? God dang it, time travel plots. Why do they never work? You can never make a time travel plot. God, maybe it was, like, imprecise, like a shotgun attempt. I don't know. Ensign Ascenda being, oh god, I don't think I've ever heard this before. Vaunacat, I'm gonna go, is being another great plot twist now. Yes, I agree. I usually, like, I get interested in plot twists, but, for Lower Decks, when Freeman was arrested, I'm like, this is interesting, I'm now not gonna think about it for a year. And I didn't. I could just leave it be. The Murph thing, I'm like, oh, what's gonna happen, you know, but this is like this is interesting now. This is like a full, like, great development. But, you know, you can't, it's a league, those Trill, like, how can we trust a Trill again? You know, they're so precious, they're the best species. If you have a choice to be a Trill, be a Trill. That's like my life's motto. But yeah, I mean, well, now what's gonna happen? They're on this Dauntless. Are they gonna take over? Like, are they gonna go undercover? Is this just now something we know and have to live with? I think Prodigy will go through its arcs pretty quickly. It's got, you know, the big Chakotay arc, the like big arc that's gonna take a while. But like this whole thing with Dal kind of felt resolved. Like there was a hint it is something's weird genetically, something's weird about his species. We got at the beginning of this half of the season, but this episode it's kind of done, you know. The Zero thing was kind of resolved in the Borg, like his kind of, hey, if people see my true form, they literally go insane. You know, the effects that has on a person, that feels kind of done. It's not bad. I do kind of wish they could stew a bit more, but it is.
Leftover pizza. You can't even have my brownies. They contain.
I was
eggs.
sorry. Alex came down with like a little pizza box. I'm like, when'd you get that? Like, it didn't come with my mail. Like, yeah.
No, a few days ago. I've just been saving it for food.
But I don't even remember what was I saying. Oh yeah, I keep that in mind as I think about what's gonna happen. Like, I don't know. I almost wonder if this diviner stuff has to be wrapped up by the end of the season. Like, that pace feels about right. But then what's the rest of the show? I still think it'd be kind of fun if Prodigy became Academy. Like, you don't necessarily focus on the same crew, but, like, they were there in Starfleet, in the Academy. But I think Academy's going to be with Tilly in 32nd Century stuff. Let's go around. Were we doing anything else scene by scene? I loved the phaser bit. The bit where Murph was running around with his phasers. The other day, I live with my partner's sister, who's got some little kids, and one of them just, like, drew all over the walls the other day, and it was exactly like that. It's like the Voyager has the mitochondria is the warp core of the cell joke, which I absolutely love. It's so dumb, but it's just those little, like, yep, even the more things change, the more things stay the same kind of vibes. I like this Admiral. Yeah, I love this. The whole, like, yeah, we're Alec is next to me now. The relationship with the Romulans is still developing from Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine wasn't a weird blip. It's like, no, that had consequences on the world. I don't think Lower Decks has done it very well, which minds you takes place a year before this. They haven't dealt super much with the Romulans, but, the Cardassians are still kind of like early Deep Space Nine Cardassians. The Romulans are kind of like the dubious plotting against the Federation, but they're working towards this now. They're trying to get a stable galaxy after the DW. Okay, we need to get through Star Trek. Aniket, knowing that Dal is a human augment. Oh yeah, that's right. He's technically human. I forgot about that already. With 26 different species, like, yeah, genetic engineering. What should we do? The students of Eric Soong made him. Yeah, I was wondering, is that one of the Soongs we've seen before? Because of course it's a Soong. I'm not gonna complain, like, long may they reign. Like, the galaxy should always have a Soong, because it's just dumb. It should always be identical to Brent Spiner. Those Soongs seem to worm themselves into all the treks. I think that the universe needs a Soong at all times, and they must look like Brent Spiner, every single one of them. It's like a constant in the universe. Once the last Soong dies, that's it. The universe ends. It's dumb. It's stupid, but I like it. But yeah, is that one of the Soongs we know before? Because we're a while from the geneticist, the Enterprise one. I don't think it was the guy from Picard, but, yeah, all the Soongs. Oh, hi, baby boy. The dog just jumped on my lap. He wants to be in the stream.
Little does he know there's not a camera.
Yeah, I mean, what should we do? It's like, what? Dal's just a person.
Hi, baby.
Like, what do you mean, what should we do is kind of my attitude. Like, it's just a person. It's like my philosophy on should we build, like, true AI. AI that's self-aware, exactly like us, yada yada. My thing is no, because I don't think we'll handle it right. I think it'll be, like, centuries until they get equal rights, and I think that we won't recognize a sentient AI for, like, centuries after it's built anyway. But if it's possible, again, I think it's inevitable, because even if you make it illegal, someone somewhere is going to do it. But the moment it happens, then bam, full equal rights, that instant. I think it causes a lot of problems, but, like, the moment it happens, well, what are you going to do? It's alive now. It has rights. You can't just take that away. So to me, it's like Dal's, I mean, it's an argument of semantics. Like, is he human? Does he think he's human, I guess? Like, genetically, he's not a human. Human was a base. It's a great base because, I mean, just look at us. There's the joke that, aliens are just humans with stuff glued onto them. Yeah, that's because we're the project or the precursors that just didn't grow anything else. Like, you could get rid of our nose And, like, our ears, like, there are some things you could get rid of. We just don't have many protrusions. We're a fantastic base to build a humanoid off of. I mean, yeah, because humanoids are based off humans, it's a bit circular. But with, like, the internal Star Trek logic, the only thing better is a changeling. Like, that's just a ball of Play-Doh, even if they couldn't change their shape. Moving on a bit. It is kind of weird to me that, like, people live in the neutral zone, but, like, yeah. I mean, species would have developed there and everything. I was confused a lot by, like, did this used to be one person that split into two? Is this two heads, or are these, like, a weird neck bit, and this is, like, a rim? Is this... Like, did they saw one person in half, or did they just go, like, I want two heads? Like, I wondered I don't know what this is. Yeah, I did like, though, there was a lot of this when they were talking about the science. I was like, because, Rock Talk is like, that's thymine. It's like, I mean, that's DNA. Like, there's gonna be thymine in there, but that's... You know, they weren't showing, like, molecules or stuff. It's like, surely you could have Googled, like, I don't know, thymine and sort of drawn that. But then it was like this gymnastics came out. It was like, oh, very good. You know literally the first thing about DNA. And I was like, you know, she's a businesswoman. Like, yeah, it wasn't, it didn't ruin the scene, but it was kind of a funny, like when Voyager tried to write real science, you know? It's like, it's not really, but I guess that's what happened when you hire, like, a Native American advisor who you already know is a fraud. But for science. Yeah, going through... Yeah, I mean, God, it's you know what, going back, it's gonna be so fun with the, what'd you call her? I don't know people's names. Essentia? Like, yeah, knowing who she is, I bet that's gonna be like, yeah, you'll see things totally differently, which is great. That's what makes the first season of Steven Universe absolutely fantastic. That's what it is. This is the Ruby and Sapphire of Prodigy, like on a much smaller scale. What about you?
You said Sapphire.
Yeah. No, I said this, I compared someone, it's the Ruby and Sapphire twist of Prodigy, but like on a much smaller scale. Where you go back and you're like, yeah, everything about this character. Because I did think they were like, you know, it's not like, oh, this doesn't make sense, but they were kind of weirdly invested in the Diviner. It's like, oh, they're just caring, whatever, you know, they're doing their duty as a Starfleet officer. But... Yeah, they, that's gonna change things when you go back and rewatch it. Okana, it's fun to have him back. There was the bit, I wasn't sure how I felt. I'd have to kind of look at the context again, watch the TNG episode, where he told the story about, the outrageous Okana, where, you know, he had the two angry fathers that were yelling at him. That was the episode he was talking about. If you're unaware, I don't know if there's anyone who would be. Okana's a TNG character. He had an episode, and he was describing that episode. And then Dal came in and was like, but you only did it because it would catch the eye of kind of like all the important people in the room. I don't remember the quote. And I was like, I don't know, that feels like a pretty fundamental change of Okana. Even in this episode, like, this is a guy we saw one time. You know, when he was going to, like, this smuggly planet, whatever, doing really dubious stuff with this bad science. And it was like, is that the Okana that we saw in TNG? Because he was, like, a scoundrel. He was the Han Solo Okana. Like, the Han Solo of Star Trek. Star Trek. But... I don't know, he always had that good heart, I felt, whereas, like, a Han Solo character didn't. He got that through Star Wars, but Okana was like, you know, he'll work outside the law, he'll do all this crazy smuggling stuff, but he'll do good things, you know, maybe, like, Machiavellian, but this felt like a bit of a different Okana. I'm not sure, but I don't know Okana's character well enough to really go, like, judge it. Like, again, a year ago, this guy was the DJ at an official Federation party, like a big one. And you wouldn't invite, like, an actual, like, Harry Mudd, even, like, TOS Harry Mudd, would not have been the DJ for an official Starfleet party, because he's actually a criminal. Whereas Okana's like, yeah, you know, he's kinda out of the law, but, like, he's never actually done anything wrong. But this one, it's like, he was actually doing wrong. And, you know, we're so little to work with. It's not like we fully understand this character. Maybe we saw him on a good day in TNG, but... I did find it funny. I think I've skipped a bit. Yeah, here. Even though, this is animated, and, like... So it's easier to do aliens. We still had all the Romulans, but the main one, there we go, in these identical generic suits that are, hey, it's actually really expensive and time-consuming to do Romulan makeup, so wear a helmet. I found that funny. I think it's that it's actually a lot easier to make one model and copy-paste them, is probably why they did it. Like, Prodigy is a very artistically, like, involved show, but you know, so the same logic applies. But when I saw that, I saw, hey, it's surprisingly expensive to make Vulcan ears, Romulan ears, so put this helmet on, like, you know, the classic TOS thing. But yeah, anything else? I feel like there was something I wanted to say. Something else with the Romulans. God, I don't remember. I like this kind of TO... Oh, wait, no, that's the TNG Romulan. Yeah, the gray Romulan patterny. Does anyone else think their guns are massive, though? Like, this one's actually big. I didn't notice it before, but the kind of Halo-style one that... I know Star Trek's had it before. Yeah, I'm actually gonna get a clip of it. But yeah, it's the one... Oh... That is playing out on my TV. That's the... Okay, I'll just mute... I can't mute the audio. I'll mute the episode. There we go. Yeah, the gun was, like, massive that the main Romulan lady had. And I'm pulling up to the scene now. Any second. Oh my god, their guns are massive. Where's the big captain lady? Come on, there she is. Look at that gun. Why is it so big? Did Star Trek Online, like, draw that gun? Anyone else? That's like a ship. You could fly that. I don't know. That was just a weird nitpick. But maybe they were that big before, but I do not remember that. Yeah. Are these Romulan... If we've seen this kind of Romulan get up before as well, because I wasn't sure if it really felt Romulan to me. I mean, they can do a new design, whatever. But maybe if it was like in Nemesis or something, like just in the background, like I could see this on the Scimitar, like easily, 100%. But it did strike me odd as like I see it. I see the Romulan in these patterns now, but it's, I don't know, a bit black. The gun, look at that gun. Like, Jesus, I could fit my dog in that gun. Like, that, it's huge. I could, it's crazy. Oh yeah, let's see. Anything else? I know there's one more point I wanted to touch on. I'm sure someone had fun doing Klingon, Andorian, Vulcan, Dal. I'm sure there was something... Oh, yes, I've remembered it. So, like, Murph just killed those guys, right? Like, that kind of struck me when Murph threw the guy off. I was like, whoa, Prodigy just did an actual murder. At the start, we saw them glide down with, I think, like, rocket boots or something. But if they have rocket boots, how come they didn't go back up? Like... Murph just killed those guys, right? They're dead. Prodigy just did an actual murders. I was like, whoa. Like, you know, normally I wouldn't I wouldn't care too much. I mean, Star Trek's murdered before, but it was just something about that. Like, maybe I'm not expecting it in Prodigy, or maybe that it was, like, being thrown from a space elevator, but it just totally threw me off. Like, wow, that was actually just a murder. I don't know. Maybe it was just me. I'd love to see, like, an Ars Technica of this bridge or something, or, like, a VR. Oh, God, we could... Come on, modern Star Trek, do VR, stage 9s. Because, like, it's a weird one. But is it like a dome? Like, what's all this light stuff? I don't know if I like it or not. I don't have a sense of the feel. Like, I don't have a sense of the bridge. I don't get it. Also, all my thumbnails are now out of date. Like, just look at Murph. He doesn't look like that anymore. I forgot I was going to bring that up. Anything else? I think I might be wrapping up. Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested where this next one is going to go. I think I might do a Saturday live stream again, honestly, because both the Saturday ones I've done, I've had people here. It's been a lot more fun. I'll probably... What's going to happen to the Monday? I don't know. I might rework the schedule a bit. I haven't done Starship reviews in a while. Sorry about that. A combination of other things coming up and then just not being in the mood. With Eagle Moss kind of stopping those new models. Like, you can get the Stargazer in the Vancouver. They're out now. Like, you can get them. I haven't. Because, I mean, there's Lego Hobby, and now it's like... I don't know, but I love the reviews with Alex. We'll definitely sit down and do more of those, because those are good fun. But I might rework the schedule, because I think I will be doing these live streams on Saturday. I've done them on Thursday before, because when they were videos, like, they have a very quick drop-off rate. I don't remember the words, but they go stale very easy. Very quickly. Like, if they're not up by Thursday morning, they don't get many views. But with the live stream, no one can watch it on, like, 5:30 PST when I do them. But here, I think even the UK, it's like, what, it's almost 9 in the UK, almost 8 in Europe, if I have it right. Maybe the other way around. Or like an hour more. No, it's much more fun. So I think we'll probably move these to Saturdays. And unless anyone else has something they want to say, I think I'm going to wrap it up there. Here, I'll put the little end screen on so I know when you've caught up to me. I really need to check how long this delay is. Yeah, it was a good episode. It was a very solid one. A little conflicted on the genetic engineering messaging, but yes, Aniket again. I really need to learn how to preserve these live stream messages. And you've just caught up with me. There we go. Star Trek Prodigy is a gem. It's a great Nickelodeon show. You know, I always forget Nickelodeon does this for some reason. It's a great Nickelodeon show in recent years. It should get more recognition than Miraculous Ladybug. Oh no, Alex. Alex. The Aniket has just said that Star Trek Prodigy should get more recognition than Miraculous Ladybug.
I'm gonna have to.
You haven't seen Prodigy, but you do like a ladybug.
Fair,
yeah.
Miraculous Ladybug is one of the best shit shows I've watched in a while. It's not good.
Oh, there. I was surprised why you liked it so much, but no, I think
it's not good, but it's fun to make fun of.
You've even said before, Nickelodeon hasn't had a big thing like other than SpongeBob for ages, and so yeah, it's
Fairly Odd Parents.
That was a long time ago.
Jimmy. Fairly Odd Parents is still going on for some reason.
They've got a reboot, like a live-action thing of it. Are they still doing the original and the live-action Fairly Odd Parents?
They added like 15, because they have Poof the Baby, some sort of fairy dog, and now Timmy has to share
because everything has to be a cinematic universe.
No, these are all just related to Timmy, and Timmy has to share his fairy godparents with some other chick, from what I've gathered.
I saw that. Oh, I remember Poof. I was there for Poof. It was like a big event. It was a movie, yeah. I think I watched that. Stress-free, thanks N Squared. Now I think Trek Central will be doing their review in a few minutes. Or is it Sundays this time? I don't know that one. I know Text Trek. It's why I don't do them on Fridays. I'll look at that time, because I don't want to overlap. I don't know how big Trek Central is. They're a big one. But I feel bad with Text Trek, because, like, subscriber-wise, I'm much bigger than them. So even though Fridays are a nice stream time, I feel really weird about, like, coming in and being like, my time now! Like, I think they get more views than me, but it's still, like... It feels weird. I mean, other than, like, actual competition, like, I don't want to make people choose. I think Saturdays at noon. I like this time. I'll probably do that. But yeah, I'll wrap it up. You can go watch Trek Central. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. And I have to remember which button instantly ends the stream. I think this one